Greetings, educators, parents, students, and anyone within ears reaching my voice. Welcome to the second episode of Meetings with Mugs, a shortcast podcast all about positive impacts in education. Today's message is centered around using self assessment in order to make positive impacts. There is so much power hidden in the tool of self assessment. Oftentimes, as educators, we utilize the skill without even realizing what we're doing. Self assessing in most cases is second nature to us. How can I get better at what I am doing? In education, we self assess from year to year, month to month, one week to another, day to day, and from one class period to the next. Self assessing is a necessary tool for success. If we don't take into account our failures in the classroom, growth becomes impossible. The same goes for our personal lives. Understand, failure and success go hand in hand. There cannot be one without the other. To shed light on self assessment, there are mental exercises such as mindfulness and guided imagery that make our self assessing practice a bit more enjoyable. The majority of us who live on the right side of technology and have these Apple Watches, yeah, I'm calling y'all out. There is a mindfulness app that helps you start and end your day on a positive note. Mindfulness is a simple task of sitting in silence, focusing on the here and the now, and then reflecting on the occurrences of the day. Now, on the other hand, guided imagery is a mental exercise that allows you to be anywhere you would like to be. For instance, you close your eyes and imagine you are on a beautiful sandy beach listening to the waves crash along the shoreline. I mean, who doesn't enjoy that, right? Mindfulness and guided imagery both help improve our emotional intelligence, making it easier to handle the failures in life and move forward in making positive and meaningful impact. My guest on today's show is no stranger to making positive impacts. He is the 2023 Elementary Principal of the Year for St. Landry Parish School District. In 1 year, he grew his school 13.5 performance points, achieving state recognition as a top gain school. As a matter of fact, number 9 in all elementaries. I'm going to pick his brain a bit about the strategies he used to make those positive impacts. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I introduce to you Mr. Brandon Singleton. Okay, so we are here with Mr. Brandon Singleton, principal. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you on this with us this morning.
Very excited to be here. Feel like we've been talking about this for a while, so it's great
Yes,
to finally be at this moment.
we have spoken
Hmm.
about it for a few weeks now,
That's
actually,
right.
and trying to make sure we had this planned out correctly, make sure we had time to get to you,
Yes,
which is
sir.
something I graciously appreciate is your time.
Hmm.
So let's go
Definitely.
ahead and get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your positive accolades in education.
All righty. Well, I am, as he's mentioned, Brandon Singleton, currently the principal at Grand Coteau Elementary, but a product of St. Landry Parish Schools. I've devoted most of my career to the students and community of St. Landry Parish, serving as a teacher at Southwest Elementary. I then moved on to Lafayette Parish as an assistant principal, and then coming home. In the role of a principal at Growley Elementary for many years, and then culminating here where I am presently at Grand Coteau Elementary. Throughout my career, I feel like I've had a fairly positive experience educationally and the impact that I've made. Most recently, being named St. Landry Parish Elementary
Yes,
Principal of the
sir.
Year,
Yes, sir.
which was definitely unexpected, but definitely an achievement that I'm very proud of, and I'm proud to celebrate that moment with my team as well. So we're hoping to keep that momentum going. making Grand Coteau Elementary the number 9 most improved school in the state of Louisiana in K-8.
Fantastic.
Definitely a phenomenal accolade that we will continue to move forward with.
That is outstanding to hear. So, first of all, well deserved honor. Let me
Thank you.
say that. That is very well deserved on your part, and to be recognized by the state as a top gain school,
Hmm.
that is highly impressive. And you've had quite the journey in education. You talk about going from a teacher and going to a different district and coming back home. How
Correct.
many years do you have total in education?
Altogether, oh gosh, you put me on the spot. This is year 16 altogether.
All
So
right. So
we are proud of that. I'm very proud of
you should be.
that.
A lot of great accomplishments within 16 years. Some
Definitely.
people don't get those accomplishments in 30 years.
Hmm.
So that is a tremendous accomplishment on your part. So let me ask, when did you know you wanted to be in the profession of education?
Oh, well, education was actually my backup plan. I initially went to college to become a physical therapist with aspirations of being a physical therapist in the sports world. That was my push, and probably halfway along that journey, my heart just was not in it. I decided to change my major, probably made my parents and some people very upset that I decided to do that. But changed my major to elementary education because throughout my college time, I was a sub and volunteer in St. Landry Parish schools. And so I knew that this was something that I could do and that I would love to do. But also along that way, while completing my education degree, opportunities came up for me to have a work in higher ed administration, and that
Okay.
was going to be my next steps post graduation. Well, upon graduation, LSU experienced some extreme budget cuts, and those opportunities,
Ah,
the doors were closed, and
okay.
so I was stuck with a degree in education, a certification in education, and school was about to begin. So I came home and began speaking to folks and ended up getting hired at Southwest the day before school started that school year. One of the teachers had just been hired to move up to principal, and principal needed a teacher. And I jumped in and never looked back. And that has led me here today. The minute I walked into that room, faking it probably at the beginning until I figured things out. But the minute I began the work, I knew this is what I was called to do. And I've
Absolutely.
never looked back since then.
Well, that's a fantastic story. God calls us to certain missions and
That is
assignments in
right,
life, and many
for
times we don't
sure.
realize it
That's
until
right.
we're halfway through or we're actually into it. And now you know that
That's
is your
right.
absolute calling for you to be in education, whether it be in the educational leadership role or aspirations to do more
Correct.
later on. You know that your calling and your assignment is within education.
That is for sure. Most
Absolutely.
definitely. Yes,
So
sir.
let me ask, educationally, what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from that experience?
Um, in this situation, I guess I wouldn't even call it a failure. However, I felt like when I was asked to move away from Growly after 5 years of doing the work, coming off of a really tough year post COVID, some reconfiguration within our zone, I was asked to leave and come here to Grand Coteau. It was a tough pill for me to swallow because I had was completely invested in the Growly community and really had aspirations to move that school forward. And that opportunity never presented itself. But I really looked at that opportunity. Um, I looked at it as an opportunity to trust the process. It forced me to reconnect my faith, to strengthen my faith, and to really trust my relationship with God. As you mentioned earlier, putting us where we belong. And while I feel like me leaving disappointed a lot of people um, within the Growly community, it was an opportunity for me to grow and to make an impact here at Grand Coteau and share my skill set and my abilities with a different set of people. And I've just had to trust that and really plant my roots where I am. and trusting that God will not waver. He will put me where I belong, and He will not forsake me. So um, it has been a good journey along the way.
Well, that is true. Many times God will close that door on
Hmm.
certain situations and we not realize why, and we
That's
may
right.
be upset at the time, but He sees it ahead of time and we don't see it.
That's right.
But He saw something more for you and saw something bigger for you because
Definitely.
He definitely saw the impact that you did not see that you were
Hmm.
going to create here at this
That's
school
right.
and what you have done, the great work within this community.
Thank you.
So, if you could go back and give your earlier administrative
Hmm.
self some advice, what would it be?
Oh man, young Mr. Singleton.
The
When
things we thought we knew,
oh, the
right?
things we thought. Moving from a teacher in the classroom in St. Landry Parish to an administrator, I jumped to a totally different district, totally different school environment, coming from a lower performing school that was on the rise, to becoming an assistant principal in a high performing school on the south side of Lafayette. Those are two different worlds when you begin to look at the demographics and what you have there. But what I really learned along the way is that back then I wish I would have had more confidence in my own abilities, that I would have been more of a risk taker, because I feel like I shied away from certain situations and opportunities just because, oh, I'm the new guy here. This is a new district. I don't know what's going on here. You begin to question yourself when you're learning. But I really dug deep and tried to learn the culture and the climate of that area. And I feel like in my 4 years there that I really did make a huge impact. I worked with two different principals during that time, who both exposed me to many lessons that were needed along the way. But if I could just go back at that moment and say, hey, man, tell yourself you've got this, you made it here for a reason, trust who you are, and do the work that you were hired to do. I probably would have flourished a little bit more during that time.
So you would tell yourself to
Trust myself.
trust yourself more than what you did, and go for it.
That's right.
And I like to say that we shared similar journeys in that
Hmm.
aspect where we both left out and actually came back home and
That's
learned
right.
some things somewhere else
That's right.
and made impacts there. And then
Hmm.
we chose to come back to make greater impacts within our communities.
Definitely.
So I just wanted to share that you and I have similar, and we have talked about
We
that in the
definitely
past
have.
where we have had some similar tracks.
That's right.
Except I have never been named a principal of the year, and he has.
It's
So
coming. It's coming. Trust the process, right? Trust the
exactly,
process.
exactly. Yes,
Trust the
sir.
process.
So let me ask, in your opinion, what is the most important quality or character trait an individual must possess in educational leadership, and why?
In my opinion, I feel as an educational leader, you have to go out, and I use this word a lot, build trusting relationships.
Okay.
Trusting relationships in terms of recognizing the strengths of every person on your team, navigating through that, and putting people in places where their strengths shine. Once you learn your team and learn what they're capable of and learn what they're passionate about, understand their why, um, that helps you get the game plan a little bit stronger. You can be a little bit more strategic in where you place people, understanding, okay, this is what they really thrive in. So let's put them there. And really understanding the concept of empowerment. When you're building those trusting relationships and you recognize where people are strong, you're now empowering them with a voice. You're
Absolutely.
empowering them with an opportunity to thrive where they want to thrive,
Yes.
and come to work and feel appreciated and feel like they have a say so here. And so hopefully that is what happens throughout the course here at Grand Coteau and every school that I've worked in, is that my staff feels like they are appreciated, feel like they have a voice, feel like I truly understand who they are as an educator, and beyond. And continuing to navigate my day with those trusting relationships, that means I'm not above any job on my campus.
Right.
If I see a need, I try to fill it. Yeah, I could easily call a custodian to pick up trash or mop up water on the floor, but if I'm perfectly capable in that moment, why not do it myself?
Absolutely.
If I'm showing my team that I'm willing to be in the trenches with you, man, think of the power that that message sends. You
Yes.
know, your team is willing to buy into what you're trying to do, and as an educational leader, that's probably the most impactful way to lead is in the trenches, trusting your team, building those relationships, but also showing them I'm with you, not above you. That's most important.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
So a lot of collaboration with
Definitely.
your faculty, a
Hmm.
lot of them seeing you in subpar roles in administration
Hmm.
and getting the job done, as you mentioned, also sends a message, as you said, and it empowers them to
Correct.
say, okay, well, I want to be here. I
That's
have,
right.
and giving them a say so and having some ownership in the choices that
Hmm.
are made helps to grow a school
Oh, for
such
sure.
as you have and your staff has,
Hmm.
growing by 13.5 points. So
Definitely.
that is phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, are there any tools that you personally use to reflect on your role as an administrator?
So, I have a drive every morning, every afternoon, probably 45-minute commute to and from work. And so that drive is probably the most important tool of my reflection, um, because outside of school, I have a family that needs 100% of me.
Yes.
And we understand in our world that work home life balance, it can sometimes be a struggle. But I try to use my drive to decompress. I usually try to sit a few minutes in solitude, no music playing, just me and my thoughts, me and my prayers, reflecting on if it's in the morning, okay, what are the big rocks that that I would like to achieve today, and strategize mentally to get it done on the way home.
So, as I mentioned earlier in my monologue, you were able to grow your school by 13.5 points. And in relation to the practices of making positive impact, were you able to do so in such a short amount of time?
The growth that we've experienced here is definitely a testament to the team. I was blessed to come into a school that had a pretty solid team already in place. But what I did as the leader is I met with each staff member individually, for many different reasons, but I really wanted to make sure that I understood who they were as a person, who they were as an educator, and to help understand the culture of this school. And by doing so, I was able to learn the strengths of the team members. And when you're empowered with that information, you can now be a little bit more strategic and put people in places where they're going to thrive, put people in places where they possibly would prefer to be, and not being told to be, because that makes a difference. And so, building that culture where now every team member feels like they have a voice, every team member feels like they belong, that helps establish a high level of collaborative efforts that we have in place. When that's recognized in our weekly PLCs and our regular ILT meetings, where we let the data speak to us, understanding in black and white where the students lie, because it takes the emotions out. We now, oh, I feel this student is doing well, but now when you're looking at the data in front of you, that emotional side is now taken out.
Right.
And we get a true understanding of where the students lie and where we need them to go, and that helps us then put plans in place to meet the needs of all of our students. But we're also very strategic in meeting the needs of our at-risk students, whether that's
Okay.
giving them opportunities for after-school tutoring, which we're doing at multiple grade levels in both math and reading, and whether or not we need to pull the parents in to provide more support at home. But overall, I feel like, um, between the collaboration, um, establishing the positive school culture and climate that we have here in place, where students are coming to school consistently. They are in an environment where I feel like we have minimal discipline issues. All of those things add to the success that we've experienced. But it's not a testament of me as the leader. Um, it's a testament of the work that my team does every single day in and day out. Without their work, we wouldn't have that 13.5 point growth.
Absolutely. Well, it
Mhm.
seems like you as a leader did have a very good plan in place to establish a positive culture and to
Mhm.
have an actionable game plan that allowed everyone to be collaborative and have
Mhm.
ownership within what you were doing as a school, which
Definitely.
contributed to you growing by 13 and a half
For
points.
sure.
So that is definitely a testament to you
Thank
and
you.
what you do as a leader in order to get people to grow and you seeing what their worth is by having these individual conversations with them
Mhm.
initially
That's
in order
right.
to make improvements for your culture in the school and within the community and empowering them as well as the students and the whole community
Definitely.
together.
Yes, sir.
Well, one final question for you. What is in your cup of positivity?
All righty. So this morning, what's in my cup of positivity is a message about resilience. Oftentimes, life can become unhinged, can become unraveled, um, can throw you some curveballs, and you begin to feel that you're not worthy, you are not making an impact. The dark clouds are hovering over you. And if I could share my personal testimony here.
Absolutely. Please do so.
Um,
Please.
in December of last year, I lost my oldest brother and probably one of my best friends in the world completely unexpectedly. During that time, I was in a very dark place, began to question so much about who I was as a person, and I had lost the zest, the passion that existed within me as an educator. I looked for opportunities to get out of the field because I felt like my team didn't deserve a leader that was in darkness, that was going through a tough time. I looked for jobs outside of the field, jobs that would pull me away from this seat as principal, as leader of this campus in this community. And I can remember one day I was completing an application, and throughout the process, of course, I was engaging in prayer and reflection and asking God to send me a message as to which direction to go. And on this particular day, I was about to submit an application and I was overcome with this strong voice that said, "No backward steps, trust the process." Um, and I immediately exited out of that application and began to pray. And I noticed that my attitude became a lot more positive. I began to have some of the passion and the zest back. And then one day, walking into my office, I found this bracelet and I wear it every single day. It was a bracelet that was just randomly hanging on my doorknob of the scripture Jeremiah 29:11, with the scripture on it, "For I know the plans I have for you." If that wasn't a powerful message from the gods, um, it let me know this is where you belong. Yes, you've endured a traumatic situation, but you are right where you are. I felt a sense of calm. I felt the old Brandon Singleton coming back. And I began to live each day to the fullest with a positive outlook, with a growth mindset. And I felt like I was back. And then coming off of that, we received the words that, well, you've grown 13.5 points. Your school is now the number 9 most improved school in the state. And then shortly after this bracelet came the announcement that I was the district elementary principal of the year. So if this isn't a testament to be resilient, I don't know what is. So to anyone within the reach of my voice, if you are going through a dark place, if you are questioning so much about your journey, you feel like you are not making an impact, you feel like you're not experiencing the success or achieving the things that you feel like you need to achieve, keep walking forward. Carry the load, connect with people who can assist, who can help you. Uh, but the bottom line is don't give up. Keep walking forward, and I promise you, things will get better. The sunshine will come again. So be resilient, be steadfast, be focused. Thank you.
Wow. Mr. Singleton, excuse me, that is a very phenomenal personal testimony. And I want to say that I'm glad you had that time to reflect, which allowed you that second just to rethink and hear those words and say,
Hmm.
I am in the right place, I am doing the right thing. And thank you to whoever put that bracelet on your
Yes,
door,
and
because
that's
that
right.
also helped in making sure that you knew that you are where you are supposed to
That's
be
right.
in education.
Amen.
So I am ecstatic that you did remain within education because of the work you have done, and there's more work that I know is going to come from you in the future. So
Thank you.
again, congratulations on everything, on all your honors, sir.
Thank you very much. And I'm so honored to be here. And I'm so proud of you and the platform that you've created to empower educators with the voice to share their stories. This work is making a huge impact on our community and beyond. So keep up that good work, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brandon Singleton.
Thank you.